Hello everyone, it's been a while since I did a game review for 40K Theories, but it's because nothing came out! And most of the stuff won't run on my new machine. That's really old, which sucks, because there's a couple of games where I'm like, please work! And it's like, no. But anyway, we're here to talk about Tau. Tau for what? For Battlefleet Gothic Armada. An interesting choice, if I might say, since the Tau fleet's kind of small in lore and not exactly, you know, one that's like, oh, by the way, the Tau. So, I mean,
Earthcast forged the tools of our empire.
And you all just heard that. That's the first thing that kind of sort of gripes me a little bit about this expansion. It's a little racist! The voice acting for the Tau is utterly stereotypical samurai movie, be-ready Hollywood voice acting with terrible Asian accents. I wasn't aware the Tau talked like that, and if they do, okay. Could we not have them? I mean, I'm not trying to be an SJW, but at the same time, when my Chinese roommate comes in and goes, that's offensive, I look at him and go, I know. And I can't do anything about it. So, devs, there's some feedback directly from Wei, who lives across the hall from me. The voices in the game are offensive. Anyway, moving on. Out of the way. So that's one of the downsides. Now, the Tau are kind of balanced. I say kinda, and then you get the stronghold here that has 1,000 goddamn hit points and costs as much as a battleship. Their point costs are really freaking astronomically high. Some of their light cruisers are drastically increased in points because they automatically come with 2 escort ships that you have to take. I don't know why you made this decision, but okay. Let's go with that. The Tau tabletop enhanced frontal shield is not translated at all. It just isn't translated. It doesn't work. You get basic void shields. We're going to take a look at them in gameplay, and then I'm going to go through and explain everything back in the garage so you guys can see them on the field and then see them in the fleet hangar and make your own judgment from there. 2 cruisers, 2 light cruisers. None of these because they are really expensive, and that's just because they come with escorts. Now, instead of torpedoes, except for on the auxiliary stronghold ships, the Tau get seeker missiles, which don't do as much damage as torpedoes, don't ignore as much armor, are slightly harder to shoot down, and there's one other condition on these. The Tau seeker missiles continue to attempt to hit the target that you have chosen until either they hit the target or they cease to be able to engage. Apparently I'm facing Tau on Tau, which you get an achievement for. So before I can deploy, I have to pick between Montka, which decreases my enemy's troop value due to my extensive use of battle suits during assault actions. In addition, if a target is if the chances of destroying a target system are doubled. Or Kayon, which, engaging this, the accuracy loss of my ships is reduced by 5% for every 3,000 units starting at the 6K range.
The
We're going to go
patient
with
hunter
Kayon.
is rewarded with victory.
I'm going to auto-deploy and then reposition as necessary. As you can see, 2 of my ships I've gone for augmented auger arrays because the Tau guns really do benefit from longer range. And you will also see that all of my ships I've gone Earthcast. That's because the Earthcast gets experimental railguns that ignore shields and armor. 90-point shot that just goes, yeah, your shields, your armor, I don't care.
At your orders, Colonel.
I have to defend my admiral ship. So here is the experimental railgun if I can get it lined up here. 90 points to that ship. Dead. Just whack an escort ship. Start of the match. No questions asked.
Aircast ready for orders.
Except you don't, because we're trying to avoid those torpedoes.
Your tide engrams online.
Hit him.
Core L ready.
Drones have identified an enemy target.
Oh, it's Tau Seeker missiles. That explains it. I thought I was dodging torpedoes. No, it's Tau Seeker missiles. Because I'm facing other Tau. I forgot that part. And as you can see, the Tau bring in shitloads of... Oh, I done screwed the pooch! And I can't use that ability to push my own ships away. So as you can see, the Tau's Manta Rays, yeah, they launch entire Manta squadrons with escort ships for their fighters. Go figure.
Gravitic drive engaged. Disengaging pure tide command.
Hit him. He's dead. Just gone. Not even... This ability is really interesting. It's repair drones, except for it not only affects the ship that it's on, but all the ships around it. So you create like these little pocket fire line forts, as you guys can see, that are just impregnable to assault.
As the ethereals wish.
And have multi-layered defenses. So now I'm repairing all my ships that are nearby. The Tau boarding actions also aren't terrible, which is counter to lore. I mean, I don't get, what are they called? Lightning Strikes base. But you don't really need them.
Aircast ready for orders.
Do I have a railgun anywhere? Yeah, I have a railgun on my Admiral ship.
At your orders, Koro.
Turn.
Closing on your position.
Fire.
Have identified an enemy target.
And you guys are about to see the massive shot that this really is.
Disengaging pure tide.
Boom! Quarter of his health ripped right off.
Reserve
Nothing you can do about it.
Kovatra.
It has a 2-second delay, so it takes some getting used to on the timing. But once you've got the timing down, or the enemy's not moving, which in a lot of cases the Tau ships prefer to sit still and fight. I mean, that's just the honest truth. Everyone target him. We're not even going to have to warp out here as we are under an assassination mission, which is the objective is to kill my Admiral ship, and my objective is to try to get it to warp out. We're not even going to have to warp out here.
At your orders.
The tower shall prosper.
Like, just fire the missiles.
Aircast
And it
ready
turns
for
into a
orders.
giant railgun slugging match, in which he's not going to move. And here come the other Seeker volleys. That's it. He's done. So that's Tau on Tau. Tau ships are vicious. All the weapons point front, so you have to face your enemy. Have massive amounts of shields. And just have a so much self-healing. So that's just some initial gameplay to show you guys exactly what you're getting into. And what you're going to be facing when it comes to people who play the Tau. It's going to be lots and lots of firepower. Now, let's take a look at these stats exactly. Now, this is a stronghold, an auxiliary ship. This is technically a battleship, but it's not a battleship. So, as you can see, massive number of gun turrets. It's got 2 forward heavy macro batteries. Lance batteries on the, I believe, the front of the ship. No, they're turreted lance batteries. No, they're 90-degree broadsides. 90-degree broadside batteries. Macro batteries on the sides. The cutting laser, which is a unique weapon, which gets up to 7 charges and does what? It continues to fire for 15 additional seconds. It does an insane amount of damage if you can keep it on the target. It gets its own fighter bays, and it gets torpedoes. So it just has so much firepower. The Tau Cruiser. Unlike every other cruiser in the game that's usually limited to 3 weapon systems, Tau cruisers have a stupid amount of just raw hate. Raw firepower. They have 2 twin-linked heavy railguns on this one. 2 short-range ion cannon batteries. 8 turreted heavy rail batteries that have 180-degree front and broadside fire. 2 ordnance bays, and the Seeker missile launcher. So you have fighters, forward bays, 360, basically 270 broadsides. Like, they can fire left, right, or forward. You have forward heavy guns, and then because of the favor upgrade I've chosen, you have the experimental additional railgun. The sheer amount of firepower these things throw out is greater than that of the orcs without question, which I'm finding a bit silly. And I will be in the upgrades in a moment. So the other cruiser variant, the only thing it does is it upgrades to heavy ion cannons that get longer range and decreases these to just heavy railguns. Okay? Light cruiser wise, you basically have a few, no real options. You can take the one with ordnance bays, but again it comes with 2 escort ships, costs as much as a heavy cruiser. You can take the one with twin heavy railgun batteries, but it has to bring the 2 escorts. Or you can take the one that doesn't bring the escorts and get your and get 6 twin heavy railgun batteries and 2 ion batteries and the Seeker missiles. I definitely prefer this one over all the others because it's 105 points. It's a reasonable price for a light cruiser, and it comes with the additional stuff that I would like to have. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now I'm going to finish upgrading this ship real quick. There we go. So basically, the Ethereal does affect your upgrades and your skills beyond just decreasing the chance of insubordination. The Aircast Officer is your navigator, but he also has the disengagement timer is reduced. Your Earthcast Engineer increases the amount of emergency repairs you get per second. Same thing as everyone else all the way across the board. I mean, these are the exact same things. So nothing unique here. However, inside the upgrades panel, we have this Adaptive Deflector. Basically, the front shield is considered at 75%. That means at all times the front shield has 75% thickness. So anything that hits you in the front arc is considered hitting a 75% shield. Not sure what that even means or what that does. There's no real explanation. And a critical hit to the front of the ship causes this to break. The next thing is the Stealth Alloy, allowing yourself to be stealthy until revealed at least once. So basically you're invisible until you choose to be revealed. And the Vestment Communion Helm, which means that for every level of your Ethereal, you get 2 additional troop skill. Oh, and the Troop Contingent giving you a free extra boarding action. Now, over here's where it gets interesting, is that's in their firepower department. Their weaponry upgrades are completely different from everyone else's upgrades. From the base Imperial to the Orcs to everybody. So first off, you can increase the range of your defensive turrets. Those things that shoot down missiles and fighters and help with boarding actions, you can increase their range and create overlapping layers of defenses. Which means these defensive turrets, these 9 defensive turrets, if you're boarding one of these cruisers, for instance, and they're in range, guess what? Your boarding now has 9 additional turrets defending it. Even though the ship's not being boarded. The acquisition system is 3 extra K range on your weapons, just flat out, so long as you're using lock-on. The Seeker missiles are, you get to deal a damage every 3 seconds for every single defensive turret you have. Mitigated by the armor, of course. But if you have extended range on all of your ships and Seeker on all your ships, that means every ship within 6,000 of your ship is taking your turrets, your defensive turret number, in damage every 3 seconds. any boarding-based armada is gonna have problems. They're gonna beg for mercy, because when they get in close to board, they're just stacking on damage, 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 damage. I have seen Eldar ships do the drive-by, and I didn't even shoot at them, and they lost a quarter of their health because they drove by my entire fleet, who all have these Seeker Missile upgrades. It's ridiculous. In the skills department, the unique skills here are the Gravity Wave Projector, which basically says, you, go away, and shoves a ship back. A ship using full speed burst towards you will burn its entire combustion meter and sit in place. Direct counter to ramming attacks. Repair drones, which not only heal your ship, but also heal all allied ships within 3,000 of you. So you keep your fleet tightly clustered together, you can heal everybody. Those are the only two unique skills. Favors-wise, you have the Firecast, which is increase boarding values and get the automatically every time you board, no matter what, if you have a single, or no matter what, success or fail, you automatically set someone on fire. You will literally burn entire ships to death with the Firecast upgrade. Watercast upgrade, you can call in a frigate reinforcement and you get a free crew point to every member. Not that great. The Earthcast upgrade's a little bit silly. I get an additional upgrade slot, flat out. But also I get the experimental railgun, which is why all of my ships have gone with it. Between those two things, having this additional upgrade flat out just makes my ships better than most everybody's. And then on top of that, the addition of a whole nother weapon system to these ships that already have massively larger numbers of weapon systems than most fleets is insane. Earthcast, you can reduce the enemy accuracy by 40 when using your high speed maneuvers, such as all head full or high energy turn. Kind of useful for defenses, but also you get straight up increased speed. Just straight up. Your ship is faster, and it rotates faster. You can now keep up with Eldar. Have fun. I'm not even kidding. You can keep up with Eldar. Stats-wise, they carry the exact same stats as a standard Imperial ship. 400 hull, 100 base shields. I have upgrades, so I have 200. Same speed, slightly slower rotation, same armor diagram, same number of turrets, same troop value, same detection range. It's the weapon systems that truly make them unique. And the fact they're more accurate than the Imperials. Just flat out, by 10%. Oh, and the last thing is they can never use the lightning strike capability. It just doesn't exist for them. They don't get it. The Crout sphere gets it. Now, the other ships that you can choose from are your auxiliaries. I don't have the Tau battleship yet, but I'm told it's just a bigger version of the Tau cruiser. Auxiliary ships include the Stronghold with the cutting laser, all of the weapons that make it it's a battleship. It's a flat-out battleship. 1,000 hit points, massive shield improvement. It's a battleship. The Bastion is kind of a battle cruiser class because it's bigger than a cruiser and definitely has more hit points than a cruiser, but it's not a battleship. It also gets nearly all of the weapons that the Stronghold has. And the Crout sphere only gets these missile platforms, which aren't very hard hitting. But the Crout sphere itself is battleship-esque hit points, slightly faster than a battleship, lots of turrets, big troop value, and the big thing with the Crout sphere is you don't have direct control over it. It just drifts, and then every 10 seconds you get to tell it to change direction. So you kind of rotate your fleet around the Crout sphere and just maneuver with it. I didn't particularly like that idea because it kind of kept my fleet bound to the Crout sphere, which is not very fast when it's not boosting to go into a new direction. It's just kind of slow. Anyway, let's go take a look at another battle. Let you guys see these things in action a bit more, and then you be the judge. I personally can say that out of all the fleets for Battlefleet Gothic, I kind of feel this Tau expansion is a bit weak. Yeah, I said it. I feel the Tau expansion is a bit weak. And it's because they kind of... It feels like you made an overpowered faction on purpose. Just so people would buy it, and I'm expecting nerfs. And I'm not trying to be mean or offensive to the devs. I'm just being honest. It really does feel like they've just made an overpowered faction that they're going to nerf later so that they could drive sales. And if they did, I will absolutely be ashamed of them. Because I have praised the devs of this game repeatedly for doing just not that. Making a truly balanced game, having a good campaign experience, which is all still there. The campaign experience is still there. There's no Tau campaign. That's something else I have to say. $10 DLC that just adds a fleet for skirmish and multiplayer. We want a campaign expansion. We want more of the campaign because the campaign was good. And it still is. It's still a gem of a campaign. I did an entire playthrough of it. But then these two DLCs that have come out that are just for multiplayer purposes and just for skirmish purposes, I don't particularly enjoy. There's no real longevity to it. There's a lot of grinding. That whole mechanic of having to re-grind just irks me a little bit. Come on, thread that needle over. Thread it over.
For Anva it will be so.
Thread it on over. Thread it.
As the ethereals wish.
I'm trying to line up that shot.
Aircraft
So
ready
hard.
for orders.
Pure tide engrams online. At your orders, Connor. Gravitic drive engaged.
Drones have identified an enemy target.
Nope, missed it.
Pure tide engrams online.
Disengaging your
Boom! Just flat out dead Space Marine ship. Just came in and died. And now you're about to see me just unload into this light cruiser over here with everything we have. He's not going to stand a chance. He's going to barely live.
Disengaging Pure Tide command link. Drones have identified an enemy target. We serve the Kovatra.
Yeah, he's dead. There goes a light cruiser. Space Marine edition. There is a light cruiser with the Chapter Master upgrade. And we're going to go right after it.
Core L ready.
With everything we have. He's got the Chapter Master upgrade. He should be a badass by all extents. And we are going to rip him apart.
At your orders, Koro. Honor the teachings of Fiaura.
And look at that. Fire on board. Space Marine, Chapter Master, Strike Cruiser right there. Just getting ripped to shreds. And he's probably going to be dead by as soon as those bombers hit him because the Tau bombers are very hard to shoot down since they come in waves of 2. So he shot him down. But usually they're extremely difficult to shoot down because of how they come. The Manta bombers take 5 hits to knock one of them out and deliver massive damage. 5 bomber damage shots per bomber that gets through. So long as you can kite them, you can get away. But if you can't kite, don't expect to live.
Blast doors sealed.
Shove them out to knock off their fire ability.
Repair drones activated.
But now I'm just activating all my repair drones because I can. And that means this entire fleet, as you can see, is just regenerating faster than they can hurt it. This is a Space Marine fleet of light cruisers and strike cruisers, and they just are not holding up.
How may I serve the Tau bar?
You do have to avoid hitting your own ships with your seeker missiles, but That's not that hard.
At your orders.
Just don't be stupid. And now with the upgrades on my Mantha Strike Bombers, which not only now have the bomber damage, but they also count as a boarding attack! That's right, boarding attacks mixed in with regular ship damage.
Targeting sensors lock on. We serve the Corvacha.
Get out of position to fire. You, however, are.
Aircast ready for orders.
Railgun! That's it. That's all she wrote. They had more cruisers than me. They had escort vessels. They had 2 strike cruisers and 3 light cruisers. And this is the result. Annihilation. That's just how much firepower the Tau ships have. At least right now in this current status. I don't know why this says work in progress. The game's in full release. Where does it say work in progress? But yeah, my opinion of this expansion is right now these ships are drastically overpowered. And that's just because of how much firepower they truly pack, combined with same level of hit points as an Imperial ship, but nearly 50% increase in firepower. And once you add the railgun on, you're talking 70 to 80% more firepower and better accuracy than the Imperial ships. The only fleet you really have problems with is orcs, and the only reason you have problems with orcs is because you have to constantly reposition your ships. And so long as you just keep on the fly repositioning your ships and timing your repositions to avoid their ramming attacks, you're good. But against Imperials, Space Marines, Chaos, and Eldar, these things just rip them apart. The Eldar ships just take way too much damage doing their drive-by passes because of the sheer number of guns they're coming in at, and with the upgrades to make it where when people get too close, in this case the too close is 6,000, for them just to take passive damage based on the number of turrets you have. You can see that adds up quickly when you have a fleet like we have just shown. I just showed you guys a fleet with effectively 42 turrets. Everyone who got within 6,000 was taking 42 damage a second. Mitigated by armor, of course, but 42 damage a second is not anything to laugh at, considering most guns only do 4 to 8 points of damage, as you can see right here from the stat. That's an ow. That's just straight up ow. But yeah, the weakness here is if you can get behind them, none of their guns fire behind them. But since they have the standard ability of turn the ship, staying behind them is an issue. And you do not want any of these bomber squadrons getting through and hitting you. They will tear you to little pieces and rip your guts out and throw them everywhere. I'm just being honest. As for this massive ship here, I don't even know if there's a way to truly counter it. It just has so much firepower on the... You basically have an Imperial level broadside on each side, an Imperial level broadside, a heavier than normal Imperial level broadside on the front, lance turrets on the broadsides as well. So if you get beside them, you get lance turreted, and then they have 3 ordnance bays per launch, in addition to a cutting beam and regular Imperial style torpedoes. There's just way too much firepower on one of these to even approach it properly, and that's why it feels overpowered to me. It's just all the firepower here that's mounted on this ship, plus this frontal axis counts as a ramming prow. It's the only ramming prow in the Tau fleet. So there you go. I don't know what the hell they're going to do it or how they're going to redo it, but in my personal opinion, as I've said, I kind of feel this DLC Tower a little overpowered, and have very few realistic weaknesses for anyone to exploit. It's worth your money if you're still interested in playing skirmish, and if you're still interested in playing multiplayer, and if you're interested in playing the challenges. But as far as actual real content that this DLC adds, I don't feel it. I honestly don't feel it. It just adds another fleet for you to play and another fleet for you to grind. It's available wherever you would like on Steam right now as a DLC to Battlefleet Gothic Armada for $7 or your $7 United States or your regional equivalent. And the base game is available there for $40 on Steam right now. All total, the DLCs and the base game will run you about $54. Your call. But I, quite frankly, I wish that they would come out with something better than these little extra fleet DLCs, to be honest. And I can't wait for the dry spell of games to finally be over and we start getting some more Warhammer and Warhammer 40k stuff coming out. Looking forward to Space Hulk Deathwing and a couple of other games coming out in the next month or so. In the meantime, from my house to yours, this has been Fiaura. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys at Man at Arms later this week. And till then, ta-ta!